Brainrot C.
It was late, and I was driving alone on the highway, heading home after a long work trip. I had been on the road for hours, and the headlights from my car illuminated nothing but endless stretches of asphalt and dark woods. I'm not one to get spooked easily, but there was something unsettling about this stretch of road. Maybe it was the silence, or the fact that I hadn't seen another car in the past hour. The only thing I could see were mile markers, each one passing with an eerie sense of finality. I glanced at my phone. The battery was low, but it would last long enough to get me to the next town. I didn't think much of it until I saw the first mile marker, 234. A random number, but something felt wrong about it. A gut feeling settled in my stomach, like something was off. A couple of miles later, I passed another marker, 234 again. I glanced at the road ahead, but there was no sign of the previous marker I'd passed. I thought I might have been mistaken, but it couldn't have been. I kept driving, and after what felt like forever, I passed another one. 234. My heart started to pound. I was going in circles. I had passed the same marker 3 times. I couldn't explain it. There were no exits, no side roads. It was just the highway, stretching out endlessly. The trees along the side of the road looked the same, like something out of a dream, familiar but unsettling. My eyes scanned the dashboard. I was still going the right speed, but the road didn't seem to be leading anywhere. The car seemed to be floating in place, the world outside moving in slow motion. I pulled over to the side of the road thinking I could clear my head. Maybe I was just tired, maybe I wasn't thinking straight. The highway stretched on in both directions, and the wind rustled through the trees. I was alone. No one else was on the road. I checked my phone again, but there was no signal, not a single bar. I sighed, frustrated, and started the car again. The engine roared to life, but before I could put it in gear, I heard something, a faint noise in the distance. At first I couldn't make it out, but it was growing louder. It sounded like footsteps, fast, erratic, like someone running toward my car. I froze. The sound came closer. I glanced out my side mirror. Nothing. No one. The road was empty. I slammed my foot on the gas and pulled back onto the highway, hoping to outrun whatever was out there. But I kept passing the mile markers. 234. Again and again. The same number, the same stretch of road. There was no end to it. I drove faster, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My eyes darted from the road to the dashboard, to the mirrors. Every few minutes, I passed another mile marker, the same number, 234. The more I saw it, the more I felt like something was closing in on me. The wind had picked up, and I could feel the weight of the air pressing against the car. I was trapped in some sort of loop. I told myself I was just imagining things, that my mind was playing tricks on me. But then, the headlights flickered. Once, twice. And then, they went out completely. I swore under my breath. The only light was the faint glow of the dashboard, barely enough to see the road ahead. I didn't want to stop, but I had to. I pulled over again, trying to force myself to stay calm. Maybe I could restart the car. I opened the door and stepped out onto the road. The air was colder now, and the darkness was heavier. It felt like the woods around me were pressing in, suffocating. I leaned over the car, trying to fiddle with the headlight switch, but the darkness was closing in around me. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching me. That's when I saw it. A figure standing far off in the trees, just outside the reach of my headlights. It was tall, thin, and motionless. I couldn't make out any details, but I could feel its gaze, fixed on me. I backed away, my heart hammering. The figure didn't move, didn't blink, but it was there, watching. I slammed the car door shut and got back in. My hands were shaking as I tried to start the car. The engine sputtered before coming to life. I didn't dare look back, but I knew. I knew that thing was still out there, lurking in the shadows. I drove as fast as I could, ignoring the fear rising in my chest. But there it was again. The mile markers. 234. Over and over. It was like I was stuck in some sort of twisted loop, each turn bringing me back to the same place. At this point, I wasn't even sure where I was anymore. The trees, the road, everything blended together in an endless cycle. And then I saw something else. Another car. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a pickup truck, an older model. The headlights were on, but it wasn't moving. It was just sitting there in the middle of the road, like it had been abandoned. I slowed down as I approached, trying to make sense of it. Maybe I wasn't the only one stuck here. Maybe someone else had been trapped in the same loop. But when I got closer, I saw that the truck's windows were cracked open and the interior light was flickering. And inside, I saw a figure. It wasn't a person. It was just a shape, a shadow. I couldn't see details, but I could feel it. The dark presence staring back at me. I drove past it, not daring to slow down, but as I passed, I couldn't shake the feeling that the figure was following me. The truck was behind me now, moving without a sound, and the mile markers? They kept changing. 234, 235, 236, 234 again. The numbers were twisting, distorting. I was losing my mind. I kept driving, faster and faster, my breath coming in shallow gasps. The truck stayed behind me, following every turn, every swerve. I couldn't tell if it was right behind me or if it was just in my mind, but I couldn't take it anymore. The mile markers, the endless loop, the figure in the trees, it was all too much. I pulled over once more, slamming the brakes and getting out of the car. I needed to confront whatever was happening. But when I stepped out, everything changed. The road, the trees, the air, everything had shifted. The highway was gone. There was no road, no car, just an empty stretch of barren land. The air was thick with a strange, suffocating stillness. I turned around. The truck was gone. The figure in the trees was gone. Everything I had seen, everything I had felt, it was just gone. And then I saw it, another mile marker, 234. I was still on the same road, still stuck in the loop. The wind picked up again, and for the first time I understood. The highway wasn't real. The markers weren't real. I wasn't driving home anymore. I had never left. The wind howled through the trees, a low, mournful sound that made the air feel even colder. I could feel the weight of the silence pressing in on me as I stood there, staring at the mile marker, 234, still visible in the distance. I thought I was losing my mind. This couldn't be real. I glanced at my car, still parked by the side of the road, but the more I looked at it, the more it seemed like it was fading into the darkness. I stepped forward, my legs shaking, the ground beneath me feeling soft and unstable. Each step seemed to take longer than the last, like the road itself was trying to keep me in place. I turned to look around, but everything was different. The trees were no longer tall and full of life. They were gnarled and twisted, their branches reaching out like claws. The sky was thick with clouds, and a strange fog rolled in, blurring everything in sight. The road ahead stretched out endlessly, like it was waiting for me to keep driving, to continue down the same twisted path. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep driving in circles. I rushed back to my car, my heart pounding as I fumbled with the door. It was locked. I yanked the handle harder, but it wouldn't open. Panic surged through me. Why couldn't I get in? What was happening? I slammed my fists against the window, yelling for help, but there was no one. No sound, no response. Just the wind and the heavy silence that had become my reality. And then I saw it again. The figure in the trees. It was closer now, standing just at the edge of the road. It wasn't a person anymore. It was something else, something dark, its form shifting like smoke, its eyes glowing a faint, unnatural red. I could feel its gaze drilling into me, its presence suffocating, like it was pulling me into the darkness. I didn't know what it wanted. I didn't care. All I knew was that I needed to get out. I backed away from the car, my mind racing. There had to be a way out of this, a way to break free from the loop. But I couldn't figure it out. The mile markers, the endless road, the figure in the trees. It was all connected, like a nightmare I couldn't escape. I turned, looking for any sign of life, anything that could pull me out of this nightmare. But the road ahead stretched out too long, too far. I was trapped. I ran faster, heart pounding, the fog thickening around me. The road stretched endlessly, the mile markers flashing by. 234, 235, 234 again. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground itself was pulling me back. I stopped to catch my breath, my eyes scanning the empty road. And then I saw it, another mile marker, 234, standing still in the fog. It shouldn't have been there. I had passed it already. I turned to look behind me, but the fog swallowed everything. There was no sign of my car, no sign of escape. I sank to my knees, feeling a chill run down my spine. The air thickened. Suddenly, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. I spun around, but no one was there. The whisper came again, closer now. Keep driving. You can't stop. I stumbled back, but the road was closing in. The fog was swallowing me whole. The loop was tightening. And then, the number 234 appeared again,